Welcome to Module 2. If Module 1 gave you the lay of the land, Module 2 gives you the vocabulary. The single most common reason new providers fail or struggle on BALC surveys is misusing or not knowing the definitions in Section 115-120. Surveyors will quote these definitions back to you. They will use them to interpret what they observe in the home. You need to know them cold, not just for the test, but for documentation and daily decision-making. Let's start with the 4 categories of abuse defined through 59 Illinois Administrative Code 5010 and incorporated into Rule 115. First, physical abuse, any non-accidental physical injury or harm. Hitting, slapping, pushing, any force that causes pain or injury. Second, sexual abuse, any sexual contact or behavior involving an individual served that is non-consensual or exploitative. This includes any sexual activity with someone who cannot legally or functionally consent. Third, mental abuse, verbal or nonverbal conduct that causes emotional distress or psychological harm. Threats, humiliation, intimidation, isolation. And fourth, financial exploitation, the misuse or theft of an individual's money or property, including unauthorized use of funds, coercion to change legal documents, or withholding access to financial resources. Neglect is its own category. Neglect is the failure to provide adequate medical care, personal care, or maintenance, including food, clothing, shelter, supervision, hygiene, and safety precautions necessary to prevent injury or illness. The crucial point, neglect is not limited to intentional acts. It includes omissions, oversights, and systemic failures. If supervision lapses, if medication errors occur, if care plans aren't followed, that can be neglect. And remember, in regulatory language, the absence of records is often interpreted as the absence of care. Now, restraints. Rule 115 defines restraint as the direct restriction through mechanical means or personal physical force of the limbs, head, or body of an individual, except as part of a medically prescribed procedure. There are 4 categories of prohibited restraint that you must never use: prone restraint, supine restraint, mechanical restraint with limited exceptions, and chemical restraint. Mechanical restraint does not include restraints used to treat medical needs, prevent self-injury due to a known coordination or consciousness condition, provide assistive technology like proprioceptive aids, or promote vehicle safety. Chemical restraint does not include legally prescribed and administered medication that's part of an individual's regular medical regimen, including PRN. Seclusion is also prohibited completely. Time out is prohibited. Aversive procedures are prohibited. Let's talk about the people. A qualified intellectual disabilities professional, or QIDP, must have at least 1 year of experience working directly with people with intellectual or developmental disabilities, plus one of 11 specific credentials listed in 42 CFR 408-3-430. For example, a physician, registered nurse, occupational therapist, social worker with a bachelor's degree, psychologist with a master's, or human services professional with a bachelor's degree in a relevant field. A direct support professional, or DSP, is anyone providing habilitative care, services, or support, listed on the department's healthcare worker registry as a trained DSP or DDD aide. DSPs work under the supervision of a QIDP, a licensed nurse, or a higher-level employee. Then there are oversight roles. An authorized CILA agency representative is the administrative head of the CILA agency or their designee, with overall responsibility for fiscal and programmatic management. An independent monitor is a person assigned by the department to oversee a CILA's business affairs in defined situations, like operating without a license suspension, agency closure, without transition plans, or emergency situations. The monitor cannot be department or state agency staff. An assigned independent receiver is a court-appointed person, appointed when the situation rises to a level requiring custodial responsibility for the agency. Two more terms with operational consequences. Implementation strategy. This is your document. It's developed by the CILA agency in conjunction with the individual or guardian. It describes and directs the activities and methods the CILA agency will use to provide services for the areas of the personal plan the agency has agreed to support. The priorities, strengths, support needs, and risk factors in the personal plan must be addressed in the implementation strategy. It must be signed by the person, the guardian, and the ISC. Personal plan, this is the ISC's document. It's developed by the ISC agency in conjunction with the individual, the guardian, family, and others chosen by the individual. It includes an assessment of strengths, preferences, needs, and desired outcomes. What's important to the individual, the services to be furnished, the amount and frequency, and the type of provider for each service. Finally, two-term surveyors love to quiz on critical incident and informed consent. A critical incident is any alleged, suspected, or actual occurrence where there's reason to believe the health or safety of an individual may be adversely affected, including abuse, neglect, financial exploitation, deaths not otherwise reportable under 59 IAC 50, injuries of known or unknown origin, medical emergencies, unscheduled hospitalizations, missing individuals, peer-to-peer or peer-to-staff aggression, and law enforcement or fire department involvement. Informed consent is permission freely granted by the individual or guardian based on full disclosure of benefits and liabilities, including releases of information. Master these definitions. Use them in your documentation. Hear surveyors using them and respond in the same language. In Module 3, we'll move from vocabulary into the substantive service requirements of Subpart B. Find the multiple choice questions below to help test your comprehension of the material so far.